now in case of this talent acquisition management, we have moved towards the outside employees talent, right. So therefore this focus or division is, that is, is it possible when we are talking about developing the entrepreneurs, we are talking about the job givers rather than the job seekers. So that dream of the nation can be fulfilled, because when we are talking about the Indians, and when we are talking about they are highly talented and with the experience, right, while servicing the others, they are developing that particular dynamism of the service and the self employment. So that is called the intrapreneurship and entrepreneurship. So when we are in the employment, so we are talking about the intrapreneurship. Intrapreneurship means that how we are developing that particular aspect of the creativity and innovation, but doing the job in the company. But when we are talking about that creativity, that enterprising skills, that risk taking, that we do for ourselves, for our own business, then we will talking about the entrepreneurship. So this is the very contemporary issue, and I am watching, and also I have seen that is the generation which I have gone to the USA especially, and after these certain years of employment, now they are returning, right. So therefore it is returning the talent, right. So this return brain drain is there for that particular country. So this aspect is also to be seen whenever we are talking about the employment to the associate consulting. For our generation, we have to train them, we have to make their mindset, that is, yes, you have to do the job, you have to go for the campus placement work, but work into that company in which you want to do your business after 5 years or 10 years. Encourage them, because there is a rut. The father gets highly educated, then he reaches to the high position, then he retires, his son again starts from ABCD, then he goes up to Z, then he retires, then again his son starts for the ABCD. So what is this? This is the whole circle. It is never like this, right. So everybody is starting from 0. So where will be the break for this chain? The break for this chain will be under this particular topic, that is the employment to the associate consulting. So in the introduction, we will find that is the what are the different employment to consultancies are there, then the defining the key roles where there is a scope, demographics of the surveyed population, what is the demographic is there, and the overview of the industry sample. So talent management has transferred from the very basic hiring and firing. Now you see, this was, you must some of you very young the students, they may not even heard this thing, that is the hiring and firing, right, because they see that is there is a need of the organization, there is a knowledge, there is a skill, there is a performance, there is a progress, there is a promotion, there is an increment. So therefore nothing like this hiring and firing. So scenario of the late 1980s and early 1990s in our time, right. So therefore this was the basic scenario of the organizations were there, hiring and firing scenario, to incorporate diverse strategies. Now you see from where diverse strategies to attract and retain and develop. Totally reverse. Okay. So that is when I was saying reverse migration. So that reverse migration is, that is the those days are gone when we are talking about the hiring and firing, and now we talk about the attract, retain and develop. So if one side we were having the bossism, the autocracy, the bureaucracy, and therefore, the employees have to follow what has been told, and here the employer is canvassing, employer is creating the brand, that is you please come and join us, and therefore, that is to attract, retain and develop. Essential intellectual capital within the business. So, therefore, to develop there will be the intellectual capital within the business is there, right. So, definitely whenever we are talking about that is this intellectual capital. Now, intellectual capital further is divided into three parts: social capital or the human capital, organizational capital, and customer capital. So, this intellectual capital, right, in all these aspects, especially the human capital and even in the customer capital, right, this intellectual capital that is becoming a very important. So, within the business how we are developing two strategies, and as a result of which we develop, right, essential intellectual capital, that human capital, creation of human capital. In various areas in the world, employment legislation has found its way for employees to realize their independence, right. So, it is always there at one stage, I am sure at one stage every employee thinks that now it is enough, doing the job for others is enough, now I want to be boss of my own, but he does not have that direction. But thanks to the current Prime Minister, and therefore, in that case that concepts of the small enterprises, the entrepreneurship, right, startups. So, that is, and the vibrancy is there, and because of that vibrancy the young generation of the 22-23 years, I was having the advice of that is let us work for the 5 years and then you start, but our generation is ready to start. They want to be an entrepreneur, and therefore, it is to realize their independence. So, they do not want to even to the binding of the employer's rules, regulation, terms, conditions, then the emotional labor. Emotional labor means express the emotions as per the boss wants, right. So, therefore, they do not want to be no bandhua majdoor, no such employee, rather than what they want to be you want to be the entrepreneur, your generation wants to be the boss of self, right. So, self management, self entrepreneur. So, this is the totally independence. So, generation has changed from that 1980s and early 1990s, right, and when you are talking about the 2020, the totally generation, it is totally table round, and therefore, it is becoming the very important, that is the how we are going from the employment to the associate consulting. Thus, in this general employment framework, there is an increase in companies appointing contractors or associate consultants. So, many people are having the reservation for this word, that is the contractor means only the labor contractor. No, it is not only the labor contractor, that can be the intellectual contractor also. So, intellectual contractor, that is you can say the associate consultants. So, he will provide the services. If you are making the contract, he will provide the service, that agreement that will force him to provide the services as per the agreement is there, and intellectual input. So, whenever we are talking about the intellectual input, that is the associate consultant is there. In highly skilled roles, please understand, this is not the just a routine job, it is highly skilled roles to support the needs of the business, right. Unless otherwise it will be very difficult to run the business. In terms of the requirement for highly specialist employees. So, therefore, highly skilled roles for the highly specialist employees, right. So, that is the requirement, being available to suit the organization's variable workflow. That basic mantra of talent management: knowledge, skill, attitude and habit, cash model, right. So, that knowledge, attitude, skills and habit, that is the highly skilled, those skills, highly skilled employees, and highly specialist employees are there. Dear friends, most of you must be doing this subject for the HR specialization, to be in highly specialist employee in HR. So, wonderful. So, but you have to also again, that is there are highly skilled roles are there. I will also talk about that, information systems and all. So, the role of technology. So, it becomes very important, that is you are going for the highly skilled roles with the highly specialist employees are there, and if that is the condition, right, then definitely you can move further. That is called next level, move to the next level. How to move to the next level? Because if you are going by the routine rut, then you are at the level 1, then 4 years level 2, then 3 years level 3, then 4 years level 4, then 5 years level 5, and then you retire. So, therefore, in that case it becomes very important, that is you have to from general employment framework, there is an increase in companies appointing these contractors and highly skilled roles, right. So, suit the organization's variable workflow. If that is the variable workflow is there, then definitely there is a bouquet, and in this bouquet what we do? We do the different jobs. So, that silos, that isolation, I am of this specialization, I am of that specialization, I can do this, I can't do that. So, now there is no word I can't, I can, I will, right. So, therefore, in that case it is the terms of the requirement for a highly specialist employees, those who are available to suit the organization's variable workflow is there. They are referred to as a contingent workforce. This is also important. Now, these are highly skilled employees, they are not regular employees, but the contingency theory, that is a situations theory. As the situation arises, right, so that workforce will required. So, this is referred as the contingent workforce, which includes temporary workers, contractors, outsourced service providers and consultants, as I have mentioned in a previous session also, that is who are the temporary workers are there. So, these are the temporary workers. So, I will like to define the key roles. There are 5 key types of contingent employment undertaken by the individuals that have been identified in recent research, right. So, what are those 5 types of these contingent employment? Naturally, nowadays this is becoming a very popular, these 5 types of the workers, and believe me, it is not a threat, it is an opportunity. Only your mindset that should be ready, that should it will not be fixed, and if you create the comfort zone, like going to 9 and coming back at 5, 9 to 5 life, right. If you are going for a 9 to 5 life, then this is not for you. This is for the vibrant, dynamic, progressive, active, knowledgeable, skilled, positive attitude and professional habits persons. So, this is the temporary workers. Who are the temporary workers? People who provide services to companies by means of temporary employment agencies. So, naturally these are the those who for the temporary purpose and for the and normally working into the companies are there, and therefore these are the temporary worker. Now in India, what is the practice? Now you see, other than harvesting season, if their harvesting is there, they are busy, but other than harvesting season, the workers, they are free, and if they are free, they move towards the industry, right. So this is what, that is by means of temporary employment agencies are there, they go for a particular period. In many big industries, manufacturing industries, it is the seasonal. So if it is Dashera, Diwali, Rakhi, right, Holi, so these festivals are there, and during these festivals you will find that there are the temporary workers, they are increasing. The freelancers, the people who offer their services to companies as independent individuals, the company treats them as suppliers of the services. So therefore in here you will find that is the who are the independent individuals, they will be working as a freelancer. So India is a big country. So if and nowadays it is not only the limited to the geographical areas. If your skill and knowledge is required across the boundary, right. So therefore now it is becoming, the business is becoming boundaryless. So these people who offer their services, companies as independent individual, so they may be into the particular nation or maybe across the globe. The company treats them as suppliers of services. So therefore it is again the operation chain, right. So therefore it is the supply chain process, and in the supply chain, what is the supply? Supply is of knowledge chain process. So therefore these are the freelancers, and if these freelancers are there, so they are independent, right. However, normally you will find those who are experienced, they start as an intern with any senior, and later on they become the freelancers. Third one and very important is the consultants. Persons offer their services to companies as part of a project or assignments. So they work for the several clients at once rather than the just one client. So, now you see the company is having the number of projects, right. Some of the manpower projects, some of the machinery projects, some of the production process, some are the financial aspects of projects. So there are different projects are going on. So they offer their services as a part of that particular project. So project staff. So consultants is getting the number of projects, and in that projects he is having the project staff. And when the project will be over, the staff services will be over, but if the consultant is a big brand consultant, he will have another project and accommodate the best talented employees of that earlier project into this project, transfer them into the new project. So that shifting from the one project to another, that will continue. Work for several clients at once rather than just one client. So it is not that only working with the one company. So there are multiple number of companies they are working, and they are managing. So many times they are doing the overlapping also of the manpower. But if it is branded consultant, then there will be no chaos. They have the whole process system. There is operations and supply chain management. So therefore work for the several clients will be there rather than the just one client, and definitely how many projects are going on. If the number of projects are going on, that is good. So research was undertaken amongst the business and associate consultants working with them. So there was the research study has been done, and then the objective was this to find out, right, with open and close ended questionnaire was used, right, and followed by one-to-one interview. So here it is, that is the how the associate consultants, right. So how they are feeling, how they have turned into this business, what are their performance, what is their future. So related these to complete the questions were asked, and they were supposed to respond into the survey, and the survey was done. So, what was the demographics of this particular surveyed population? The surveyed population was high-tech sector 27% of the respondent companies, then the management consulting sector 32%, pharmaceutical sector is 10% and professional service sector is the 31%. So, overview of the industry sample, company size by the head count. So, 1 to 500 1%, 501 to 750 5%, 751 to 1000 7, 24, 31, 21 and 11 4001 plus company head count, they were the 11, right, and total is becoming 100. Age profile of associate consultants. So, this is totally becoming the other will continue means that has been taken. Age profile of associate consultants under 31, 31 35 4, 36 to 40 10, 41 to 45 34, 46 to 50 30, 51 plus 21 are there. Similarly, now here it is a good percentage, that is the male is 69 and female is 31. So, more or less 50%, right. So, which is a good number is there for this industry sample. Now, the movement from the employment to the consultant, associate consultants, the individual perspective, this is the most important, that what is the individual's perspective. It is by just telling nobody will become the entrepreneur. What is important is this, it is the what you, how do you motivate, right, and then making that person his own liking. You may motivate the person, but it is the individual's decision, individual's personality. So, it is an individual's perspective. The focus was on finding out the ultimate motivation factor for getting into independent consulting. So, this research talks about that is the how and when and why the one job oriented person from the employment has gone to the independent consultancy. Some of the key questions and the responses received are summarized. So, now I will summarize that particular survey. When did you first become interested in associate consulting and how? So, on the summary abstract is through an associate consultant or interim manager being brought into their team or department within their company. This is what I was saying, that is the when you have the experience, when you work in that environment, you know that environment and then you develop the confidence. Otherwise, you are watching from the outside and getting scared. So, through an associate consultant is there, right, and then he is brought into their team or department working with them and then within their company. So, whenever like the IT company consultants are taken and here is the employee is already there and that employee works with that IT consultant and becomes a part of that project team consulting firm, right, and then he sees the environment, he interact with the people and then he understands, oh, I can also do, that confidence is developed. As a result of their employer suggesting them the associate consulting as an alternative to permanent employment. So, in many places that is the employers, they identify that is, oh, this is a person, but this is not in the bad sense, it is in the good test. They advise that why do not you start your own, and they start and they become successful, and many of them are supplied to the parental company because their expenses are for this particular purpose only. What was your main motivation for considering the associate consulting? Category 1, 26% had an motivation of the perceived independence enjoyed by the employment consultant, right. So, therefore, that was the motivation and by the employment consultant was there. Category 2, lack of engagement with their previous employer. Now, this is the forcefully also. Now, here percentage is not mentioned, but you will find that is this percentage is becoming much higher as compared to the category 1. In India, sometimes you will find in some businesses entrepreneurs are by force because there is no job for them and therefore, they are not by choice, they are by force. What made you finally decide to become an associate? Reasons for active move to the associate consulting. So, here we will find the involuntarily, as I mentioned, percentage is very high, right, amongst all the percentage, this is the second highest percentage there. Then the discontent with employment relationship. So, one finding is there is the they do not leave the bosses. My PhD scholars, one PhD scholar's finding is that the people do not leave their bosses, they do not leave their organizations, they leave their bosses. So, there is a discontent with the employment relationship at the place that they are not able to gel with the boss. Approached by the agency or other associates, so that is attracting them and they are going for this particular option. Like the thought of owning own business, right. So, therefore, in that case that is their liking, so 12%. Bored with the employment 11% and 8% employer offered associate contract, right. So, therefore, here the highest is discontent with the employment relationship, that is the highest is there, and the approaches by the agency or other associates, it is a 17% are there. Those who were left, then they were taken into consideration. Like thought of the owning own business, as we have seen, that is the 12% is there. What has been your experience of associate work? Response. There were certain trends identified from the responses. We need to understand 3 distinct routes to associate contracting as follow. Transition out of the business into independent contracting, so termination of contract or employment, right, that has been transferred into the start of independent contracting with the other companies is there. So, these are the forced these entrepreneurs, and we will find it is yes, this number is also increasing. So, understanding the root cause of the movement, the employer's perspective. Sample of relevant questions which were asked to the employees about their views on the associate consulting. What has been your experience of employees leaving employment to start a career as an associate or interim manager? So, this question was asked to the employer. Graphical representation of the phenomenon as a follow. So, many 3% have said that is no, we are not aware of it, that they have left and they have started their own. 17% had experienced it if directly. So, they said that yes, that they themselves have done this type of the things. So, their experience is there. 42% aware of it in their own organization, that is the yes, this type of these practices are there, and 38% are the aware of the phenomenon indirectly. So, 38% are known indirectly, they are not aware even. Employer awareness of the move from employment to associate consulting. So, here we find that is aware of it their own organization is 42%, but related to the another organizations surrounding, as we know, that is they are very busy in their own work. So, they are not aware about the others phenomenon in the industry itself, that is what is going on. To the employer, question number 2, what reasons have been given to you for employees leaving to move to the associate consulting? The employee felt that they would have a greater level of independence working for themselves, as I mentioned, no bindings, greater work freedom. So, therefore, they are going for the greater working is there. The employee indicated that they were bored with their current role and was looking for more variety in their career. So, that is also the one of the reasons. Question 3, of course, employees who have left to start a career in associate work, what percentage would you classify as being key employees, right. So, therefore, who have left to start a career in associate work. So, what is their percentage to classify as being the key employees, whether they were key employees or not. The smallest percentage given in the response was 75%, 75% were the key employees. Critical employees left left the business in order to start their own business, to potentially offer their services to the competitors and to other organizations that would benefit from the knowledge the employee. Question 4, what retention strategies did you utilize to try to retain these employees, right? An offer of an increased salary when they are leaving, this type of the entrepreneurs when they are leaving. So, these are the mechanisms. An offer of a retention bonus, an offer of a career development, opportunities for the additional training, and making them aware of the risk involved in starting their own business. So, there is a threat also. So, that is it is there. So, finally, we come to the question 5 of the employees with whom you discuss the potential for an associate contract. What percentage actually accept the offer? Employer response in percentage. So, therefore, those employees, the employer has discussed the potential for an associate contract. So, what actually accepted the offer? 67%, fewer than half of the employees accepted the offer. Response of the employer who responded to their employer. 31%, more than half of the people that received this proposal had accepted the offer. 1%, 100% employees accepted that offer, that is a 1% only. 100%. Employees were unable to respond, that is also 1% only. So, therefore, we can say that is the movement, the talent, because who will move from the employment to the associate consulting, right. So, this study has been shared with you, and please see that it is a positive reason you move from the employment to the consulting with it is my personal opinion, with the at least experience of 5 years. You understand that business, but you spend these 5 years as a training into that company which you want to start. Otherwise, the sometimes your 5 years will be irrelevant with the business you start. That is the somewhat more risky according to me. So, I hope you understand and wish you to be the moving from the employment to the associate consultant. Thank you.